Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You know who I am. You know the channel that you're at. But I am joined by the winner of SportsDeck EPL last year, now known as SuperCoach EPL. Bill, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Fantastic. Now,
You
I
finally get to put a face to the person who's been sending you abusive and harassing messages over social media.
Oh, that's just normal. Honestly, if I don't wake up to at least, 7 to 10 abusive messages, then something's wrong and it's probably not going to be a
Yeah,
good day. But enough about me. You won this thing last year. You won it. Like, all I want to do is I want to sit back and I want you to tell me all your strategies, all your
yep,
gun trade-ins, how you won it, and how I can win it this year. So if you're happy coming, second or third, that's fine by
yep.
me. But I'm going to steal all your tips and tricks because from
Okay.
what you were showing me before, mate, it was game over by about game week 18.
Yeah, look, it was a good year. It was the third year out of 4 years that I've actually sat at overall number one. So I got a taste of the throne before, and I thought I want to be here. So last year I got really lucky. There was three sort of defining trades that got me to overall number one by game week 11, and that was it. I sat there till the end. I never saw number two. So
That's
it,
insane. That's
you know,
insane.
a lot of people say you need luck to win it, and that's true. And if I think back, it was probably there was two popular early picks. So before the season started, everyone wanted. I think it was Taylor Harwood Ballas, THB from Southampton. So he's a wing back. I went for the other wing back, Sugawara. Now, Sugawara got a goal in game week 3. So he spiked with 18 points in game week 3. So no one had him. I was one of the few that had him. 1.8 million jump immediately. And then people had to transfer him in. So I've basically, got a transfer of 1.8 million ahead of everyone by game week 3. He maxes out game week 6. So I've made 3.8 million on him by game week 6. Who do I jump on game week 6? Well, Ashley Young of Everton. First week, he gets red carded and they concede 3 goals. So he went -3. He misses out game week 2, game week 3. People forget about him. Comes back game week 4, gets a yellow, concedes another 3 goals, goes -1. Game week 5, he gets 15 points. So he's missed his BE. He's fallen to 4.4 million. I've now got to do a trade in game week 6. Cash out Sugawara, and I'm bringing in Ashley Young.
Why? Why Ashley Young?
As a Liverpool supporter, I hate the
Yep.
Toffees.
Yep.
But I know they go on these unbelievable runs where they will concede 3 against teams you expect them to keep a clean sheet, and then they will keep clean sheets against teams where you expect them to concede 3. So he's gone -3, -1, 15. The -3 is about to drop off. And then, of course, the -1's about to drop off. So at 4.4, I thought I can make $2 million out of this guy. He's got a 15 in the cycle already. I'll bring up his stats. So I've brought him in. No one else has brought him in. Look at this run he went on to. He goes 15, 14, 12, 14, 14, 6. I may have cashed him out around then. Then he goes 13, 15. He keeps going. Finally gets a -5. But then he comes up with a 29, a 12, and an 11.
Do you reckon you jumped off too early?
Look, I made 6 million on him. I cashed him out at, I think, 10.6 and bought him at 4.2. So I made 3.8 on Sugawara, another 6 on him. I've made 10 million on one trade.
Yep. So good investment.
Look, people ask, what should I expect from a trade? And I think 2 million would be a good trade. If you've made 2 million on that trade, you've done good business. So I made 10 million.
Just a side note here, as you know, obviously, because you're playing this year, first game week's already gone. Should you be making trades after the first game week? I want a yes or no question.
No, not unless you got a really bad team.
Good. I'm of the same thinking.
It swings and roundabouts. If you had a bad first week, you're probably due a good second week. So if you're trading players out, you're going to miss that good luck. If you get bad luck and bad luck, well, you better make some good luck in game week 3. Look, have a watch list, but don't have a wish list. We all wish we had this player next week, but it's a long-term game. So all these people that got good scores this week, fantastic. You want to all get off to a good start, but maybe they picked players who just had a good week in game week 1.
Yep.
So time will tell. And all those people that didn't do so well, again, time will tell. But, if you don't have more than 3 urgent fires to put out, I wouldn't be making a trade. You'd have to have like seriously 4 or 5 fires, which I don't think many people would have that much, bad luck after game week 1.
No, I completely agree.
Everyone got lucky. You look at the goalkeepers, Chelsea kept a clean sheet, Arsenal, Spurs, City. I don't see anyone that did really badly. Even if you had Konsa, he's going to have a week off, and that he didn't even go negative, did he?
No, which I was super surprised on. Super surprised on.
Yeah, so that bad score is going to drop off after the first cycle. So even if he drops a bit in cash, he'll make it back. But people want the cash and they want it now. So, they got FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, I want to trade. I want to be, I've got to get Ballard. Ballard is looking like a must-have at the moment. I mean, that score at his price, his BE is phenomenal. If he can get even like 8 and 8, he's going to make over $2 million. So he's going to be like a sure thing. Great trade. So Ballard's the only one I'm looking to bring in, but not game week 2. He's down for game week 3.
Yep.
But none of my backline have done really poorly. So at the moment, my biggest problem is who's going to make way for him. So hopefully, someone doesn't do that badly, but they put their hand up to exit my team. De Kuiper, I think he's one. He got 5, which is all right, and they literally conceded their clean sheet with the last kick, so he could have easily went 11. But I expected more from him attacking wise. So if I want Ballard, he might go just because he's not meeting my expectations, not because he's doing really poorly. So, that's a criteria I use. There's always an opportunity, but is there a better opportunity?
Yep. No, I completely get that. Yep.
Yeah. but it's got to be a sure thing. You know, I'm not going to go for a player who's BE's 5, but he's got a great matchup. You know what I mean? It's still speculation. If he fails, then my trade fails. At the start of the year, you want to be doing trades which are like foolproof, you know, 100% in the bag, you know, like Ballard.
So the general consensus this week is to not trade from your point of view.
Yep. And just going back to my luck last year, as I said, I got lucky with Sugawara, who scored in game week 3. So if you're going to do well in this game, any pods you have, you want them to go big in game week 3. Now, you can't control that. That is just luck. But if they do, whoever jumps on them, they're going to miss out on the first price rise. And it's going to cost them a trade. So that's how you get ahead of the pack. But you won't know that until probably game week 30 and onwards. You know, that trade you saved at the beginning won't benefit you until the end when the buys come and the double game weeks come, because the peloton will stay together until game week 30, the leading peloton. And then whoever's got the cash and the trades, they're going to be doing their little sprints at the end, and the rest who have run out of trades, they're going to drop off. So, you know, it's a very long-term game, and you just have to be patient and don't feel like you have to make a move. Okay. At the end, everyone's going to be making moves, crazy moves. You know, when they've got nothing to lose, they'll be doing Hail Marys, you know. That I want to do that, but they know if I just stick to what the leader's got, I can't catch them. I have to be different. So, you know, if you want to be different, do it at the end, not at the start of the season, because you could just drop off that peloton and you'll never make it back.
No, I completely get that. I guess I have one experience, obviously, in the SportsDeck version where I literally did the exact opposite of what you've just suggested, and it worked out well. The 23-24 season, I finished 15th, and I think it was game week 30, I ran out of trades and literally just held on for dear life. Now, I don't think that that's something that's ever going to continually happen because, as you just said, the peloton stays the same, but then at the back end, that's where you can make your move, pick up different players, and then hopefully, with the use of all these saved trades, make your move to the higher echelon. Is that a fair statement?
Spot on, mate. Yep. The buys and the double game weeks will give opportunities where you could just leapfrog. You know, every week you might make 2 or 3 points, but when they come, you can make 30 and 40 points in 1 week. So,
Now, while we're talking about points, this blew my mind, but we're going to have a look at this, and this is your season ranking from last year, and we were having a chat about it earlier on, but like to me, game week 1, overall position of 234. I mean, fairly good start. Then you moved into, you went out actually, 266th. Then back into 55th, 69th for all those playing at home. And then 8th, 4th, 5th, stayed at 4th for 3 consecutive weeks. And I see your team value went down by 5.5 million, yet you moved into 1st. And literally that's it. That's the comp done. Because if we scroll down, like that's it. From 11th all the way down. Actually, you can't even see it because the banner's there. Shout out to the side channel at Scobes YT on YouTube. Make sure you drop a sub. Good promotion there. But game week 38, you're number 1. So from game week 11, you were number one until the end. Like, it's finished. A third of the way into the season, the comp is done. How did you do it?
Look, I've been playing probably 20 years, various fantasy football sports. So Yahoo Fantasy Football was what got me into this. So I was playing soccer at the club, and one of the boys is like, "Hey, let's play this fantasy game just for laughs." So it was just the boys at the club, and that was similar to this in that you had about a dozen categories that scored points. It wasn't as simple as FPL where it was just goals, assists, clean sheets. That was more into it. So that got me into the stats side. Let's find out who the players are that are getting these stats. People taking corners, 10 crosses, 10 points. You know what I mean? On FPL, they weren't showing up as the guys to have. So I think that set me up to be good at RDT. And now it's SuperCoach, of course, which is awesome because I think there was just only over 3,000 people that played RDT last year, and now we've got about 45,000. So that's fantastic. All this interest. I hope they find it as entertaining as I have over the decades, and they persist, and it's something we can build. But yeah, that's what gave me the fantasy football bug. So 20 years worth of sort of cumulative knowledge. You get to learn all the players. You get to learn, what they're good at, what position they play. If someone's out, that player's all of a sudden, going to get extra points. So that's an advantage you have, and that's just experience. The new guys coming in, they won't see that. They'll just be looking at data from the last few weeks to make their decisions. Whereas, I've got a bit of past knowledge where I might say, hey, this guy's now a good bet. Someone like Porro, for instance, of Spurs. He and Madison always took set pieces. So the rule was Madison is out, you get Porro because his points increases. So things like that, and that happens in AFL as well. We saw that the Swans, they lost a few midfielders, and all of a sudden Heaney's playing midfield, but he was playing, forward the year before. So all of a sudden it was a must-have that season because he was listed as a forward and severely underpriced. So, that's what we're all looking for. But the people with the experience, obviously, they have the advantage.
So do you have any rules in this at all? Because I know, nice segue to AFL Supercoach. Some people are set in stone, no players over 600,000. Everyone's got their own little, I guess, intricate rules that they like to follow. Some people don't have any. Yeah. Do you have any in this at all?
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I just started playing AFL Supercoach, and I applied EPL to AFL, and it didn't work well the first 2 seasons. And now I see the AFL people applying AFL to EPL, and I'm thinking you're going to fail. And I think some of them have realised after game week 1, that the strategy is different. And that's good. Sometimes you need to fail to imprint it into your head to remember for the following season. And I think those guys that have come to that realization already, in 3 years, they're going to be very competitive. So, I'm not going to get to number 1 by game week 11 and stay there till the end. In a couple of years, these guys are going to be knocking me off the perch.
Yeah, well, as I said, I haven't seen, and I know you alluded to it before. You said there was only 3,000 players, but still, there's so many variables that can go wrong. There's so many issues that can arise. When shit hits the fan, it's just insane to see game week 11 rank 1, game week 38 rank 1. I can understand fluctuations in rankings and whatnot, and climbing the mountain, so to speak, but getting there so early and literally, like, that's it. It was game over.
Yeah, look, the good players are not. There's a few of us. We'll get to that later. But yeah, we're like what is it? Like a PlayStation.
Mhm.
Once we get to the top, we don't make mistakes. We don't give you a chance to pass us.
Yeah.
So really, it's who can get to the top first, and they will likely stay up there, barring any like really, really, really bad luck. I had it a few years ago where I was first going into the last week, and bad luck. I had one transfer. I went for a guy who's super reliable, and he got injured. So you couldn't do anything about that. And then Madison, who had been injured for 2 weeks, who I would have got and negated everyone else, he was injured. So why would I bring in a injured player to negate their pod? And then all of a sudden he does a Jesus. Not only did he come back, he played 4 games in 10 days. I think he got something like 53 and 42. He scored like 4 goals and some ridiculous amount of assists. And last week, on the very last week, all Liverpool players who had a double game week were rested. So they had no choice but to captain Madison, and he gets 43.
And it just worked out.
Passed me, yeah, and nothing I could do about it. Nothing they could do about it. They had to chase me. They made the move they had to make to, and pray that he went their way, and he did. So
yeah,
you need luck, but you also need to understand how to make that luck. So kudos to the people that finished first, second, and third that year. They made their own luck. But yeah, so going back to what you asked me about, other sort of game plans in AFL, people have a rule: no 600k players. Well, I think in this game it's the opposite. You need to get the best players at the beginning, like your Salah, your Haaland, your Palmer. People want to get them cheaper. I understand that. That's the AFL way. You don't buy Bont at 700k when he's starting, because he's going to have a bad game and he's going to come down 70, 80k. It may not happen in EPL. Haaland and Salah, they generally start off on crackers. They can actually go up to 20 million, not drop 2 million. So those two and Palmer, and that then gives me 3 options for the best captain.
Yep.
So then another strategy is your loop. So you always get a loop GK. Now, I know you had a flat battery, and because I'm a VS Berlina, you asked for a jump start. Now, I told you holler for a Marshall, but you didn't hear me properly. You thought I said transfer in Marshall.
Yes.
So you've ended up with Marshall as your loop GK. And funnily enough, there was 29 of us. Then there was 26 of us. Now there's 21 of us. So it's going to be interesting to see where us 21 Marshall holders finish at the end of the year, whether we're all top 100, because
I don't know. All of us? Geez, that's a big call.
Well, we'll find out. Maybe some of them got him by mistake. Who knows? But yeah, you need the loop GK. I noticed people were trying to make profit by getting a second playing goalkeeper, and then rotating for the points, and then hopefully both of them make money, and then the best one you keep, and the worst one you cash them out, and then you decide whether you bring in a loop. In AFL, if let's say you don't loop, there's so many premiums that will get you 100. What's a good captain score. Generally it's like 100, and then people punt for 130.
I always take a 120 VC. Always.
Yep. So if you get 100 and you don't have a loop that's a captain, it's not going to punish you, is it? Because the other guy might get 130. So he's going to get 30 points more. And what do you average in AFL? It's like 2,500 per week, isn't it? So
if you're 30, lucky.
I'd
be happy with that. Yeah.
Well, the leader, you got to remember, we got buys in AFL. So there's 8 buy rounds. So you're down. Yeah. So for 8 weeks, you're short 4 players. That's 32, say, players over the season. So the leader's on, 2,300 something per week. But when you allow for the variance in the buys, I think they're averaging over 2,500. So, if your captain is worse off by 30, that's only like 1%, isn't it? 30 points on 2,500. Now, you saw my ranking, how it leapfrogged 1 week. If you could scroll back up to the top.
Where are we going here?
So where was I? 59. There was a week, probably not on there. I feel it was game week 6. Now, Palmer got a 4-bagger. Palmer went 52 one of those weeks. Now, I ended up averaging 132. So imagine one guy, captain, gets 104 points when a weekly score is 132. Okay, that's like 80% of your score. Now, Grundy, Gawn, they might go 200, right? That's like exceptional. 200 on 2,500, it's still 8%. You know what I mean? It's the captaincy can hurt you in EPL, and hat-tricks happen. Salah scores hat-tricks. Haaland scores hat-tricks. Palmer got a 4-bagger. He could still score a hat-trick. So that's, can't emphasize the importance of a loop in this game. You really have to nail your captain if you're going to do well in this game. You raised how I went up to number 1, but my team value dropped. I think that's around.
So game week 10. So game week 10 into game week 11. Yeah, I found that interesting just purely because, you were 4th, then you've used the boost, lost 5.5 million, but gone up in the ranking.
Yep, I don't think I lost team value. I think I cashed out 3 cash cows and I banked an extra 5 mil. So I don't think that team value also includes how much you have in the bank.
In the bank. Well, that'd make sense because then it's literally 2 game weeks later. Looks like you've cashed out again here, and then you've just instantly 5.3 million value straight up.
Yeah, so that's what would have happened. You pick the players you want. I may have still been doing upgrades. So, I've gone, brought in more rookies and, just banked as much as I could. I finished the season with 13 million in the bank. If you look how I finished.
Why?
Because I was chasing the best players. No longer, I made so much cash. Cash was irrelevant to me. It was like, I want this guy, I'll buy that guy. And that's how we just ended up. If you're playing the buys and the double game weeks and you're side trading premiums because one's got a buy and one's, about to have a double game, by default, if you're doing well, you're cashing them out at a higher price and bringing in that fallen primo who's going into a good run of games. So you're making points and you're making cash. Yeah. So, they go hand in hand. And that's how I ended up with 13 million. I didn't overtrade and get more than I needed. I just, as the season went on, I got the right guys and just by default kept making money.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you ever conscious, I guess, how do you value points compared to making cash?
Cash, yeah. Well, you need a balance. Like AFL, obviously at the start, there's more emphasis on cash.
Yep.
But yeah, you still, as I said, you want to be in that leading peloton. So if your aim should be like 132 average. So if you're far from that, ask yourself, well, do I have trades? Am I happy with my team? Am I coming into a good sort of run of fixtures with my guys? How far behind am I? Can I reel in the leader? With the dream team, I think you need 150 million to get the best players. So if you make 2 million a trade, 25 trades are going to go to make you the cash. And that leaves you 19 for injuries and luxury trades.
Yep.
So sometimes it's easy. Your player gets injured and you got to trade him out. And it just so happens that another guy's coming into a good run of games. So that injury trade actually is a luxury trade. And the decision is made for you. But as we know, normally you bring them in, and that first week you bring them in, they get injured. So the luxury trade requires an injury trade. But yeah, if you don't have that bad luck, then you can rank quite highly. But yeah, again, that's just all luck. You can't predict that. If you could, you'd be winning it every year.
What rank are you aiming for this year, just out of curiosity? And obviously, I know you're going to say number one.
Yeah.
But say, just for argument's sake, number one is not achievable. Where would you be happy with?
Look, it's hard to say. In the last 8 seasons, I've not finished outside the top 50.
Yeah, that's mental. Absolutely
I know
mental.
there's better blokes than me. There's better blokes than me. Maybe we'll put up the screenshot. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, or in this case, your opponents closer. So I've been keeping spreadsheets over the years of who, the guys are to look out for. And yeah, I'm not the apex. There's other bigger predators than me. I just got lucky and managed to clinch a title. I've got unlike Spurs prior to last year, I've got silverware.
The slide gig. Yes.
But yeah, I don't expect this influx of 45,000 players. A lot of them are learning, so I don't think they're going to be any threat to me. If I finish outside the top 100, I'll be very surprised. I think it'll be more I played poorly than someone else played better.
It's interesting as well because in all fantasy games, you can't get a read on how many active teams there are.
Yeah.
Which I think that's one fault that not just SuperCoach, but fantasy sports in general have. Because it's all good and well to say, you ranked, I don't know, for argument's sake, 25th out of 50,000 people, but by half the season, that could genuinely be 25th out of 15,000 people. Not taking away from how good of a ranking it is, but just the larger the pool size, I think it drops off drastically as people lose interest.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see it in AFL, SuperCoach. You either do something properly or you don't do it at all. I think that's most people's, way of playing the game. And if you're not going to get a respectable rank, well, no one's going to remember you. So what's the point? You finish 10,000 or 100,000. But
I like that attitude.
I mean, I persist and I learn and I try different things. I'm like, it's good to make a mistake in a bad year than find yourself in a good position the following year and then make the mistake and ruin that year as well. So, but everyone's different.
Well, mate, I just wanted to say Thank you so much for jumping on with me. I've got to get these satanic spawns to sleep. I've got 2 questions for you.
Yep.
Where does the name VS Berlina come from? And what's the, I guess, connection to that?
Okay. Well, Commodore owners or Holden fans know what a VS Berlina is.
Yep.
The VS Berlina is still alive. On the 22nd of September, it's going to have its 30th birthday. So, yeah, when I first got onto the internet in the mid 90s, I bought the VS Berlina brand new. And I don't know, as a nickname, I thought, yeah, a lot of people had their cars as a nickname back then. So that anywhere, any forum, anywhere you'll see VS Berlina, it's me. So that's
Perfect.
how they came about.
So if someone wants to find you on Twitter, mate, all they've got to search up is VS Berlina.
Yeah, most likely. I think so.
Perfect. All right. Give me your best piece of advice for the upcoming season.
Yeah, well, I probably already have. Get the 3 big guns, get the loot.
Yep.
Stack. Got to get stack.
Anton, superstar, isn't he?
If you're not on top of the stack, you're under the stack. And when it stacks on, you're going to need a stack hat. So, yeah, stack is the best advice. Other than that, yeah, hopefully you fill in, the rest of it yourself and you have a good season.
Perfect, mate. Well, that will just about do us. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. And as I said earlier, hopefully you finish, 2nd or 3rd and I take this thing out, which is highly unlikely. For everyone that has tuned in tonight, that has watched us, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the other channel that we've got going at Scobie YT. Don't forget to check out DR's new AFL Supercoach Finals video that just dropped recently. And please check out the website at supercoachswordplay.com. Bill, it's been an honour. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, if you want to do a follow-up in a month, see how I'm going, I'll be interested to see how I'm going as well. So thank you, mate.
Wonderful, mate. No, awesome. As I just said, don't forget to check out all the socials, drop your likes, drop your subs, and enjoy the evening. Thank you for tuning in and have a great night. If you've enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the website at supercoachswordplay.com.